We're still ahead on TV International and in our today's episode of Breakfast Show, and we're now going to discuss, as we told you before in the beginning of our today's Breakfast Show, we're going to discuss the latest development in the Gaza Strip. So the latest inhuman situation and the unhumanitarian situation and the widespread of hunger, as Israel is using the hunger as a weapon in their genocide war in the Gaza Strip. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addressed the nation on Monday to just declare the latest development of the exerted Egyptian efforts for regaining the peace and stability in the whole region, and also to regain the legitimate rights of the Palestinian nation. Also, the UN had tackled the UN conference on the two-state solution, co-chaired by the foreign ministers of France and the KSA, or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, on the two-state solution. And they highlighted that the two-state solution is the only viable roadmap to peace in the whole region. To discuss on this, but actually as dozens of countries had attended and participated in the conference in New York, is being boycotted by the US and Israel. Well, to shed more light on this, we are delighted to be joined over the phone by Her Excellency's Ambassadress Wafaa Baseem, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Very good morning to you, Your Excellency.
Good morning.
Well, when we discuss first the address of the head of state, President al-Sisi, to the nation on Monday, declaring the latest exerted Egyptian efforts to regain peace and stability and the legitimate right, also the flow of the food and fuel to the Gaza Strip. How you find the messages out of this address to the nation by President al-Sisi first?
I hear you difficultly. Can you please repeat the question?
Sorry, you'd like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please. There is a problem in the sound.
All right, I repeat my question once again. As President al-Sisi mentioned and addressed the nation on Monday, to declare the latest exerted Egyptian efforts on the Gaza Strip for regaining the peace and stability for the whole region. Also, the exerted efforts by Egypt to maintain the flow of humanitarian aids, fuel, and etc. for the Strip. How you find first the address and the messages out of the address of President al-Sisi to the nation on Monday?
Well, the messages of the president that came, let's say, in parallel with the conference that is held by New York, and it is on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution, both are very closely related. The president has explained very clearly the dire situation in Gaza, as far as the starvation, the famine, the destruction of the infrastructure, the loss of life, 60,000 Palestinians, at least this is the number we know, because there are people that are lost, people that are still under the rubble. All of these issues, as well as the continuous attacks of the Israeli military apparatus on Gaza, as well as what is starting now in the West Bank, the efforts of Egypt, whether to try to reach a ceasefire, being an honest broker together with Qatar and with the support of the US, how Egypt has been fulfilling what it thinks its duty and its mandate to provide and to facilitate the entrance of the humanitarian as well as medical assistance through its territory at Rafah crossing and Karm Abu Salim crossing.
Mm-hmm.
The President has explained this very clearly.
Yep.
And he affirmed and ensured that Egypt never stopped, even for one day, to fulfill its duty and its commitment to support the population
Yep.
and the civilian population in Gaza.
Yep.
We do our part. That means that we permit the crossing of the humanitarian aid. We never stop doing that.
Yeah.
And this has been repeated also by the governor of the north of Sinai.
Yeah.
And we never stopped, as the President said, but the problem is from the other side.
Yep, exactly, and that the UN General Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he had found this out as he visited the Rafah crossing border from the first day of the war, that were open from our side and been always closed from the Israeli side. And for all the people who don't really know that Rafah crossing border is a crossing border for people, for personnel. And the Karm Abu Salim is for the tons of the flow of humanitarian aids. So
well, people know this since a very long time, and it's very clear, and there is no confusion.
Yep.
About the fact that Rafah is for the passing of people, while Karm Abu Salim allows for the passing of the trucks and the humanitarian and medical aid. In Rafah, we used to, before the Palestinians were prevented from the other side, we used also to welcome all the wounded and those who needed urgent medical care. Our hospitals were open from Arish until Cairo, in many points, depending on the situation and the state of the patient or the wounded. But unfortunately, again, because of the complete control of the Israeli military over these crossings from the other side, not from the Egyptian side, people and goods, people are not allowed to come, and goods are not allowed to enter and to go to the final destinatory, who is the Palestinian people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, this has been very clearly portrayed during the different interventions of the high-level meeting in New York, as you rightly said now, and by the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Yes, Your Excellency, let me ask you concerning the UN high-level conference on the two-state solution, as it been being participated and attended by dozens of countries and co-chaired by France and the KSA, or Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but boycotted by Israel and the US. They declared and announced that the conference is actually a counterproductive to end the war, or to its efforts to end the war. What's your comment first on this?
Well, the fact that the United States considers this, well, Israel, one should not be at all surprised by its attitude.
Yep.
I mean, we would have been surprised if it had participated.
It's not astonishing,
But,
yes.
Hello?
Yes?
We would have been surprised if Israel had participated. But the United States, who proclaims to be, and its president, who proclaims to be a peacemaker, and who is also in the tripartite efforts of the honest brokery together with Egypt and Qatar, and the importance of his role as portrayed by President El-Sisi, who addressed to him a clear appeal and call to intervene to end the dire situation in Gaza and to resume the peace efforts. I think they should have been there. The idea of the two-state solution has always been supported by the American side, together with, of course, the Arab initiative, who are very well known. All this has been clarified in the declaration issued very early this morning in New York on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution.
Yes.
The role of Egypt is very well known. Nobody denies it. In the contrary, I don't think that any very few statements did not thank Egypt for its efforts together with its partners, and clarified the important role that Egypt has been playing in facilitating the entrance of the assistance, of the humanitarian and medical assistance to Gaza. Also, that Egypt now is not at all responsible for the fact that this assistance is kept in storage rooms between the two lines of borders after the Egyptian line ends on the other side of the crossing. If we want to talk about the declaration and the main points, we will find that the main points were ending the war in Gaza and securing the day after for Palestinians and Israelis. The second point was empowering a sovereign and economically viable state of Palestine, living side by side in peace and security with Israel. The third point was reserving the two-state solution against illegal unilateral measures, which has always been the firm stand of Egypt, achieving regional integration through ending the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Concerning the recognition of the Palestinian state, as France had announced that they will recognize the Palestinian state in the General Assembly annual meeting in New York next September. Also, many other European countries had announced the same. The UK, or Downing Street, had also announced that they are about to recognize the state of Palestine, but Israel threatened them to do such a step. On the other side, in the conference, the UN General Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he announced that the state, or the solution of the two states is now far or further than ever before. How you can elaborate on this?
Well, it's very clear from many observers that, unfortunately, the idea of resuming the peace process in order to reach a solution based on the principle of the two states, as Guterres said, is further than ever. It's not the first priority on the international agenda. For as far, we have other issues, of course, that are of interest to the European Union, to the States, and to Russia, which is the war in Ukraine. We have now the very difficult economic and trade situation due to the policies of the American administration.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the Middle East, you have an issue everywhere, almost everywhere.
Exactly. Do you think that it's also because of the policies of practices of the Israeli soldiers in the Gaza Strip and the annexation of the West Bank, and now they are proceeding with a wider expanding plan to actually annex the like 90 or 100% of the Gaza Strip? Do you think that's why he announced this?
This is a real threat to any effort.
Yep.
Not only to the two-state solution, but to any effort that aims to the calming down of the situation, to the ceasefire, to the resuming of a seemingly possible life for people who are starving, using starvation as a weapon in conflict against all principles of international law and international legislation. Let's not forget also that the recognition in itself is good, yes, but you have to pave the way for a viable state to be recognized. And this is what Israel doesn't want to do. It's trying to annex part or all of Gaza. It's trying to annex part of the West Bank, despite of the presence of the Palestinian Authority, which is totally against the Oslo Agreement. And we really find it very difficult to find a light at the end of the tunnel. The President, Sisi, has been very clear on appealing the major powers to assume their responsibilities and to do their duties towards establishing peace and stability in the region. At least if we can have some stability, so we can start the negotiations and go back to the peace talks.
Yep. Your Excellency, and concerning coming back to the address of the head of state, President El-Sisi, to the nation on Monday, as he urged and called on the American President Donald Trump that he's the only one, he has the right, and he could on the spot end this war. Out of this message, and also out of the message that the U.S. with Israel boycotted the UN conference on the two-state solution. How you can just analyze this?
Well, I've just told you that that was a big source of frustration and concern, of course. But anyway, the U.S. has not promised or committed itself to attend this conference, despite the many talks that took place between and the efforts that took place on the part of Saudi Arabia as well as the French government and the French president. Mr. Trump does not seem to be convinced of the importance of such a conference and of such a road, such a way of settling the Palestinian question by the creation of the two states. I think he now has a different vision of how Gaza should be, and that he has to put his hand on an empty Gaza so he can create a new reality. I mean, we do not need really to dwell on these details that are transpiring every now and then from the American President's declaration. As far as the recognition of the UK or the possible recognition of the UK of Palestine as declared by its Prime Minister, of course it's a welcome declaration, but definitely we would have been much more satisfied if this was an unconditional intention of recognition of the Palestinian state. What we have is a sort of conditioned declaration by the behavior of the Israeli government, as it was very clear.
Yeah. As the Prime Minister of UK, Keir Starmer, also announced that UK is about to recognize the state of Palestine after being urged by many ministers in the British Parliament. So have been threatened by Israel if they take such a step. When we talk about this, and other European countries, Israel have threatened as well, if they, in case they will take such a step to recognize the Palestinian state, which they all announced that they will do such a step in the next annual meeting of New York and the General Assembly in September. So, where is supposed to be the international credibility for the international humanitarian law, or the all international charts, all international agreements? Where's the credibility for the whole
I don't think
nations?
anybody now is paying attention to the credibility of any of these international and well-recognized instruments, whether the Geneva Convention, whether the international humanitarian law, whether the human rights law in time of conflict. I think what we are seeing now is a total violation of all these instruments with an international community that is totally disabled and unable to take any action. And they are leaving the region to itself, just adding responsibilities to the main actor and the main honest broker in the region, which is Egypt, without giving the proper support, whether through actions or through sanctions against Israel, or through means of pressure to allow all these humanitarian assistance that Egypt is providing to enter to and to be given to its final destinators.
Yeah, Your Excellency, as a last comment and concerning this UN conference, as many other UN conferences on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, what do you expect and what not? We're still in the same phase, no further movement, or what?
Well, you just have to see what's happening to know that there is no, until now, any further steps. Let's see from now until the General Assembly, which is not very far now. We are in August, almost in August.
Yeah, we're talking about 1 month.
The GA will be in September. Let's see what will be the developments in the next few weeks and what will be the impact of the possible recognition of those who proclaimed. Let's see how they are going to implement their commitments and what will be the impact of this recognition on the Israeli government, but mainly on the United States of America.
Yep, well, Ambassadress Wafaa, Baseem, former Assistant Foreign Minister, many thanks for being with us and for your insights, and have a nice day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a short break and we'll be right back.